Hello, everybody, and welcome to Eberron. Once again, I forgot for a second what we were doing.
You need less games so that you could remember
You know what the
any.
worst part is? This is the third chapter in a row where I say, never mind what it says in the corner down there underneath Ollie. It's Ollie sits on a throne of lies, is what it is. And so, and
You
so,
know what? I was going to be mad. You sold it. You made it work.
oh, we can't see you, Will. That's probably a good thing. Since you are the other Will, you should be a little bit more obscured. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. I got you.
Good, good, good. There we go.
Cool.
So we don't have Ryyk or Eric or Kunsai or Weeb, whatever you want to call him
Any of
this
them.
week. So we have Will Graham filling in for him. So hi, Will.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
You know, about to start playing a game. You down?
Pretty exciting. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good. Okay, so last session ended the chapter with you guys having raided an old Dakani region, having looted it for loads of treasures and stuff like that, and da 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 da. And I actually did come up with a list of the various treasures that you have and wealth and everything. But honestly, they have significant value, like historical value, and so I could grab the list from my laptop right there. But it's one of those things that don't really matter. When Eric's here, I'm gonna have fun explaining this stuff to you, Ollie, for the fun little details. Like,
Okay. I was going to point out, I'm glad you addressed it because that was actually going to be the first thing I pointed out that you said at the end of last session.
oh no, like so, like
Will?
just to
And
give you
you
an
didn't?
example, like there's a suit of armor, the one that he had, that when you did detect magic on it, you didn't detect any magic. But after doing like lots of experiments with lots of things, you eventually
You work out.
realize like, oh, because you're wicked smart, you have like a 22 intelligence. It's like you eventually realize like, oh, there's no magic detected on it, even when I currently have spells on it. Curious. So there's like things like that that are I have lined up for you, but for next week. For
I
this
was
week,
ready to make fun of it because when I said you won't remember, you looked genuinely heartbroken and offended for like a moment. Which is, I don't know why you were so surprised by that statement.
it was a very fair statement.
So we have a bunch of historically awesome equipment that Scott doesn't want to pull the information for right now. We should just sell it before Ryyk gets back.
Well, you guys are in a boat. It's been months. It's
What are
been
you
months.
telling me? We can't sell it to someone on the boat.
It's been months since the end of last session. So let's kind of catch you guys up with where you are at the beginning of the session. So after last session ended, Kieran had called out, it's like, come save me, my duplicate selves, come save me. And so they actually did.
Give me a ride.
She hiked up the skirt a little, showed a little knee.
I mean, I also did want to get that like dude with the greater mark with us if we were gonna go directly to Sharn.
Yeah, no, I do recall you saying that, and you did actually get him. He's not going to be on your vessel, however, and we're going to go over all that stuff right now. So your ships have a lot of tasks that they need to take care of back over yonder. One of those tasks one of the most important tasks is to continue watching the House Lyrandar. So one of the jobs that whatchamacallits over there, one of the your duplicates have to do is to actually over the Principalities, correct? One of the duplicates have to do, one of the changelings. Oh, that's the word. I kept wanting to say doppelganger, which was incorrect. So one of the changelings have to do is to literally follow around House Lyrandar at points in time, because they're currently using an airship, pretend to be House Lyrandar and whatnot to get there. Now, mind you, as I said beforehand, there is a modification that was done to the airships to allow them to get to the altitudes that they get to and to pull off all the shenanigans that they've been doing. You don't have that modification to that airship. So the airship that you guys do have has been doing a whole bunch of research and whatnot, and telling them whatnot that it can do under the guise that it has. The cool part is when it needs to, the captain is Captain Kieran de Lyrandar, who is, imposes fear to some and brings about courage and leadership to others, right? But but when they encounter members of House Lyrandar, they completely change their shape to be a different member of House Lyrandar that is respected by them, and it allows them to kind of pull off this task that you've given them.
Yo, Scott, I got a question actually about changelings being Kieran. Can they copy the dragon mark with like accuracy? Because it
The
glows.
appearance, not the abilities.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, I figured not the abilities, but it glows, doesn't it?
They can mimic it.
So the mimicking the mimicking of glowing and whatnot would have to be done with like specific magics. You know what I mean? And you definitely there are no spells that I know of that existed ever in 3rd edition, and that had a lot of spells in it that can allow a dragon mark to be falsely detected as a dragon mark, right? However, who walks up to you and says, "I don't believe you're you," detects dragon mark, which is a spell that exists. It's very, very rare that somebody does that. So you can get away with it to a degree.
I was just wondering.
No,
There are also spells to hide a dragon mark as well, from those spells in particular.
so
That makes sense.
again, it's one of those things, but there's no way to falsely make the ability to dragon mark. You can't false read. You can only hide or detect. Okay. So, anyways, so you have that person over there, and they happen to have with them a couple of actual members of House Lyrandar, but for the Raincallers Guild, which we had talked about beforehand, to help maintain the actual functioning of that ship and doing it well. But that's not the ship that's with you. That's an entirely different ship. You wanted to bring that gentleman with you for this actual voyage into the mainland that you thought was significant. And he is coming with you, but once again, isn't on your ship. Because it wasn't one ship that came this way. You actually wanted to bring 2 ships this way. You needed to have a backing, you needed to have an easy way out, you needed to have the ability to call to aid along the shoreline, no matter where you are within the storm's eye, where the ships can actually sail freely. So you brought 2 ships with you. Currently, most of the crew, let's see, Kieran, Bellum, Stalbor, Kieran's genuinely true best friend, Ryyk, is on the ship as well, with Delnus. But on the other ship, you actually have the gentleman that you just, whose name I just don't have pulled up at the moment, but the Stormcaller, as well as Ryyk, because Ryyk, out of all of the crew, was the one that spent the most time learning to actually sail and be a genuine member of the crew. Whereas Stalbor's like, yeah, I'm a member of the crew, and then
Me and Bellum once tried to pilot a ship on our own, and now Stalbor has a lot more respect and does what he's told.
Yep.
He wouldn't even suggest that he pilots a ship on his own because he knows that he can't. He's smart enough to realize.
And of course, they're over there with N, because that would make sure that that ship is being taken care of correctly. So Ryyk and that person are on a separate ship at the moment as you guys are heading towards Sharn. And this core crew, Dalnus with you as well, is heading here. As I had said before, months had passed while you finished coordinating and whatnot, and Dalnus got caught up to speed for exactly what it is and the scale of work that you're putting forward to actually overcome this task. Though Dalnus isn't somebody that easily jumps into somebody's war and says, yeah, this is totally exactly what I want to do, hoorah, this is my fight now. I love every part of this. He understands the significance of it and probably even thinks it's a little bit foolhardy, like, okay, cool, you're definitely going to leave a deep gouge into the 12, but there's no way you're actually going to win. So he's friendly with you guys and is definitely coming along with you for the ride to Sharn. As to whether he's going to stay with you in Sharn is something that he's been contemplating this whole while and probably is flip-flopping on the issue as it stands.
Well, I spend the entire time trying to convince him to do otherwise.
Oh, there you go.
Stay with us. There you go.
You want to convince him not to stay with you?
To stay with us. To not leave us.
Oh, okay, cool. So, so how does Dallas take to that? We'll actually pretend like many months have passed, and we're gonna pull the camera actually down into it's a point in time where you actually have you're sailing through the seas. You're south of Corvair right now. You've passed by Arenal once again, choosing once again not to stop into it because it is even further out of the way. And you are north of Zendrick, and you could have popped by that way, but you do know that you screwed over your uncle 2 or 3 more times since the last time you were there. And so while it'd be nice to see him and maybe toss a faint apology, maybe it's better not to. So north of Zendrick, south of Sharn, you're making your way north. And you have hold of the helm, and you have the seas splashing up against the side of the ship. You have the smell of salt in the air. Very few clouds in the sky. The sun is beating down. It's very warm but enjoyable with the breeze that you currently have because of the speed of winds around you. Dalnus, who has now regains the sea legs that he must have lost many years ago in his long life because he's clearly been on ships before, comfortably standing there nearby Kieran, overlooking the ship. Others going about their work. Bellum probably, at the very bottom of the deck, watching Stalbor from the shadows. Dallas. Kieran, pick it up, Kieran.
Just talking to him? Or what? What am I picking up? Am I picking up the helm? Am I picking up the anchor? What am I picking up?
The conversation with Dallas?
You were trying to convince me to stay.
Oh, you! I wasn't concerned about you. I was concerned about the Lyrandar guy. No, you can come and go as you please. I will start by asking you, and this probably would have been many months ago, about your connection to House Lyrandar.
And you wouldn't get an answer.
All right. Well, that's okay. It seems like it's troubled, which is probably for the best, because we infiltrated the highest in security of House Lyrandar, vaults, known as Dreadhold. By we, I mean them. That helps.
Well, congratulations on that. It's not an easy task, admittedly. But, I mean, well done, I suppose.
Thank you. So if you're not directly affiliated with them, you don't have a ranking with them, which I assume because you were silent, then you're opposed to them. Maybe you don't want to work for them anymore. Which is fair because they're all corrupt and awful. And committing mass genocide.
Consider me house agnostic at the moment.
Alright, well they're committing mass genocide. Are you agnostic about that?
Don't usually just believe things from people that I don't fully know. And admittedly, got a chance to talk now. I do know you a little better, though not really. You're a bit of a mystery. And, well, I don't really know if I believe it or not. But, well.
Well, we're an open book. Feel free to ask us anything. And if you stick with us, maybe you'll discover something on your own. How does that sound?
Interesting enough. So, you're an open book. Tell me.
Yeah, I can't fucking lie. Like, to save my life.
She really can't. It's embarrassing.
Good to know. I'll ask you all the direct questions then. For instance, why are you pissed at your house?
They had a hand in killing my fiance. And also they're committing mass genocide. And also they tried to starve an entire population out of food. So that's one of the reasons. Or 3.
Good enough reasons?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of house agnostic here. I don't really have any love or hate for any house, but that seems as good a reason as any to hate a house. They've certainly wronged you.
They're
directly.
also working with the other, not 12, probably, because I don't think House Lyrandar is involved in any of it.
No.
As far as we know. But they're also very new to house politics and maybe not as trusted. Who knows?
Interesting. And Dallas is going to turn over to Stalbor, who was hanging out.
Stalbor is often just hanging out.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm the smartest man in the world, and I'm probably the only one who can actually do something about this. If I don't, no one will. I have no care for the prophecy. I have no care for the houses. But a lot of creatures are dying, and that's not okay.
Smartest man in the world, huh?
It might already be dead. We don't know.
Smartest
Well.
man. Smartest man. Really.
Death
Sorry,
is
I'm
not a
sorry.
bi-
I know you
Death
said
is not a binary state, Kieran. And
that to Luca.
smartest man,
Elf.
elf, dwarf. Really, it doesn't matter. And I know an elf saying that is quite ridiculous, but it doesn't.
So like Bellum's like behind Stalbor, and like I imagine this would be common for like to mock elves. Like you'd like kind of just be like, oh no, he's just kind of like
Yeah, absolutely.
like that's like a common like, oh yeah, smart, smartest man in the world.
eyes are all sunken in.
They're not.
I'm
anymore,
gone.
Hank.
I'm gaunt and deathly. Oh,
Not anymore. You're the one who changed him into being an attractive man.
You're welcome.
Attractive or living?
More living, man.
Well, you know, I have
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Smartest. You caught me on a couple points there. Smartest man in the world. And
It's a little
again,
weird that
barring-
you're focusing at that point and not the murder point.
Well, everyone murders, but not everyone can be the smartest man in the world.
Sorry. Death is not a binary state. What
It's
was that
not.
about?
I'm on the task to learn how to control life and death itself, to make sure that people who die are the ones who deserve it, and that people who should live do live.
So you're trying to be a god.
Well said.
Best of luck to you. That's a cow.
It's the end of that conversation.
Yeah, it has to be.
No. That was beautiful. I loved it. I love that ending. That was good. All right. So, and then you guys continue with your travels, and once again, so it's just like Kieran is trying to get you to join. You imagine what you get from it. Kieran might often play it off as, well, you know, we need you as an in for this, and you're a valuable tool and whatnot, and she may play it off that way. But you know, somewhere deep down,
Deep
down,
deep
beneath all that blood.
The only place a dwarf can be.
Yeah, right. Yeah, oh, fair. There you go. Maybe you're used to it. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe she's just more dwarven than half elfian, and so
She does have a very dwarven attitude.
maybe that's why it is that you could find burrowed deep within the murderous intent and the joy of screaming children in pain. Kieran might actually be starting to bud some. Nah, definitely doesn't. You're useful, and so you continue that trek, heading north above, as I said, above Zendrick, and continuing towards Sharn. As you guys are trekking that way, same as always, there's the same pass that you have to make your way through to get to Sharn. It is the age-old, constant place of turmoil. It's the Sahagin Pass, where, of course, you must go and you must make your, sacrifice, your,
Nope, this time we're just killing him.
okay, or that. So let's see how conversation goes first. So as you guys are making your way, so to describe this to you, Will, and anybody else that would not be familiar with this area from the beginning of season 2, as you are traveling through this portion of the seas, there's a region that you come to that has a lot of rocks that rise up from an island that never quite made its way to the shore, and tons of reefs that happen to be in this area because the water is just not as deep here. There's a very large region of sea. When I say large, I mean many miles of sea that become kind of treacherous for ships to pass through. There is an option for you. You can go around it, but that easily adds days to your voyage. And the seas out there, because the pass between Corvair and Zendrick isn't that bad. It's actually relatively narrow for continents. And so this region, because the water is a bit shallow, does allow for less crazy storm water, less crazy sailing to happen. So you kind of want to stay to this region. But if you go outside of it, it adds tons of time, danger, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this is an old Sahagin place, a home. It's an ancient land of theirs, and it's where they've made a bit of commerce for themselves, more or less holding up anybody passing through the safest pathway, the area that's widest for any ship to pass through, so on and so forth, by saying, like, hey, you must give to us an item of value, or several items of value. You must give us this gift, or we will kill all of you. So it's not so uncommon to pay some sort of like toll or tariff as you go through a region, right? So everybody does it, and those that don't, well, they either talk about the amount of blood that they're still trying to scrub off of the decks, or you never hear from them again. You guys have had an encounter with them before. Kieran, you weren't the captain of the ship back then, were you?
I was not.
Yeah, but that's okay, because things actually went relatively well. As you probably recall, there is a chief that leads the Sahagin, and then they also have their shaman that leads the Sahagin. You meet with the chief, the shaman gives the okay of everything, so on and so forth, and then you're allowed to pass. Last time you guys gave them some trinket. Honestly, it was one of those things that Stalbor was like, this is cute, and then tossed it to the side, figuring it's not that significant.
Stalbor really liked that knife, actually. That was
It was a
very
really nice
important
knife.
to him. I mean, in fact, it was given to him by like a war criminal, we now know, but at the time he was very happy with it and very upset he had to give it up, actually. Thanks.
Yeah. So you're telling
I
me...
did give you a nice amulet in return.
No, yeah, you did.
Hmm.
Oh, that's right. You gave him a
And-
gift in exchange
And
for...
didn't Luca
Yeah.
give him the knife after Yosef gave it to Luca? She specifically, and
Yeah.
then Luca gave it to Stalbor.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's there's a little bit of I suppose
So I guess we're gonna get it back now.
God, I'm afraid of where this is going.
If Kieran suggests that to Stalbor, there'd be like a couple of moments of before he'd be like, that's a very silly idea.
So
Well, I'm not giving anything this time.
when you say a couple of moments, do you mean like a couple of moments of agreeing before he's like,
Yeah,
Like an
Okay.
elvish moment.
like a day. Well, I suppose if you are set on
That's right. Was it called the Alchemist Spark Blade? Is that what I called it?
I don't know.
something like that, it's somewhere.
Shocking Dagger. It was
It
Shocking
had like
Dagger.
an elemental bound to it. It was cool.
Yep, it did.
It was
Yep.
real glue.
I actually have the stats for it right here because it was in the Obsidian portal I made forever ago. Each day the Jagger generates one charge. You can store up to 3 charges. Expending a charge as a bonus action grants you the Shocking Grasp with your next melee attack. You can use the greater of the 2
It
attack
doesn't
modifiers.
really matter now. It's under the sea.
Yeah, under the sea. All right, so you guys are approaching this Sahagin Pass, where it is that the Sahagin have the realm here. And as you are approaching it, as you're getting closer and closer, you are able to see the crags coming up from the water. You're able to see all the different signs that you've seen many times before, Kieran, every
look,
time you've
honey,
made a
the
sacrifice
crags.
before.
Sorry.
So you make your way into the pass and are heading towards the center. Occasionally, you're looking over the side of the ship, you'll see a shark swimming along the side of the ship. 2 sharks. Eventually, it's like a head poked up over the water, much like a bullfrog would poke its head up from the water and over by a pond or whatever. And as you catch a quick glimpse of it, its head will bloop right back underneath the water, just enough that you can't see it anymore. But the number of sightings get more and more varied, more and more frequent. And then eventually you start to see a few Sahagin standing atop the rocks, and then more than a few. And then you come to a region where you can see many Sahagin are standing atop the rocks because they're amassing to this area. Now, when I say many, I mean, 3 or 4 dozen are over in this region. And this is where the rocks actually rise up above the water to an area where they have this crag where you can see the chieftain of the Sahagin is standing there, not with his arms crossed, with his arms at his side, standing tall and proud and so on and so forth. And if I remember correctly, it's been a long time. If I remember correctly, this Sahagin standing before you, this chieftain, he's not like most Sahagin, which are a fish-like creature that have shark-like skin and have their a blue texture to them, whitish in the front, bluish greenish in the back. You even have a bit of a fin, webbed fingers, big bulging eyes, much like you would imagine a frog would or a fish would. But this one has 4, that's 2 sets of huge muscular arms, much like you might remember a gorilla having. So he is a big, massive-looking creature that has these 4 arms in front of it. Standing back a considerable amount, there is the shaman with the shamanistic seaweed and rocks and seashells and everything draping over it. It's got its staff of comprised of sea materials in its hands, and it's watching as the ship approaches. And again, you might remember this before. As you guys are getting closer and closer, you can see that the shaman is waiting for you to slow down your vessel so that it can make that bridge of water appear between where the Sahagin chieftain is standing and your ship, so the 2 of you may meet on the bridge of water so you can give your gift. So here it is, Kieran sailing her ship through the pass, getting to the region where she needs to slow down.
It doesn't slow down?
So they don't really pay mind of it,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't slow down, like you said. A little bit of time passes, and it's like, you know that if you want to stop in time without like bringing harm to your ship, you probably should slow down now. You have to make checks, whereas before you didn't, but they won't be too terribly difficult.
Okay.
Do you choose to slow down?
If it's gonna cause damage to my ship,
No. I'm saying if you choose to slow down now, you have to make a couple of checks that are relatively simple. If you want to slow down without damaging your ship, you could just keep going.
So is the speed gonna?
He's
hurt?
saying if you wanted to stop, you might damage your ship.
Yeah, no,
But
I
the
don't want to
context
stop at all.
is that she's not stopping,
Yes.
which is why she
I'm
didn't
just
stop.
confirming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you travel for a bit more, and this is where, for the first time, you start to see a wave of like, kind of like a reaction happening amongst the Sahagin and the like that are on the lands and about and watching. That being
Lovely.
said,
How close is the one with giant fins?
the one with the big forearms.
Yeah, that one.
You are very quickly approaching him. He's probably still like a solid 500-600 feet away, because this is the point where in time where I'm going to tell you, Dallas and Bellum, you don't need to make checks. You can clearly see there's reactions happening amongst the crowd around you. They're like, are they stopping? What's going on? They're kind of like looking over towards the chieftain and whatnot. Some are kind of like grabbing up spears. Others are starting to make their way over to the water and like dive in and swimming up behind the ship and everything. And hold on one second. Kieran, this is the last time. If you want to stop your ship in time,
Yep.
you can start it now. It'll be a difficult check, and there's a decent chance that you're going to cause a little bit of harm to your ship if you want to stop in time.
Yep.
You choose to keep going?
Yes.
What were you saying, Bellum?
I was gonna say, noticing that these things are looking like they might be ready to fight, I would mention to Kieran, are we preparing to fight these things? Are we? What is the plan?
Yeah, absolutely. We're preparing for combat.
We're just.
I'm sorry, I thought that was clear.
So we're just. You're
From
gonna
the
go.
days in advance, I'm saying we're gonna fight these things.
Well, you talked about it, but it was kind of always like a we might fight them, and I don't take half the things you say seriously anyway.
All right. Well, we're probably gonna have to fight these things because
So
they're
we're-
not gonna let us go.
That's what I'm asking. So we're gonna try to go through. If they don't let us through, it will lead to a fight, or do you want to fight these things before a conversation happens?
I want to fight. So here's what's gonna happen. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna go
Yep.
through. They're gonna attack the ship. When they
Okay.
attack the ship, we attack them.
Oh, I had a
Like-
whole plan about us stopping, and I was going to give them a Trojan horse. Who was going to kill
Well, did you
them.
want to stop? We can stop.
He lets out like a deep,
No.
he lets out a very deep sigh, and you could tell like he's like, I'd rather just talk to these guys and tell them to fuck off, and then if they fight, but like you could tell that he's just like, sure.
I can give you the
Fuck off.
opportunity to talk to them. If you think that will help.
I mean, they at least deserve that. We're in their, I wouldn't say land, but their home.
There's a little bit of land right there.
Yeah, like we're.
It's an island.
I mean, we're the people from out of town, so to speak. If they start attacking, they have the right to attack us. I mean, I'll defend myself by all means, but I understand if someone were doing this in my home, I would probably attack them.
All right then. And I will attempt to stop the ship, Scott. Knowing that it's a hijack.
Yep. Okay. So all of a sudden you give orders to stop the ship. You know what?
I will control the wind to my advantage.
Oh, don't worry. You're the only. If anybody else tried to stop the ship that wasn't somebody that had a Dragonmark, they were well past the opportunity.
Yeah.
So for funsies, Dallas, Bellum, and Stalbor, you guys can roll an insight check if you'd like.
Okay. Her
Do you want
heart's
to
not
make my
in it.
rolls?
Oh. You don't. No, you wait.
Yeah, I want to make sure I'm not Ericing. Okay.
That's about right.
I got nervous. Yeah.
We're gonna describe it as this. Dallas is probably somebody that isn't very focused on the crew. He doesn't know them very well, so on and so forth. But he's kind of like taking things in. He's a semi-observant person, so he gets like he sees this crew immediately spring into action. Bellum, honestly, you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to fight creatures I've never fucking fought before in lands that's theirs, and we're clearly outnumbered by a ton. And why are there so many sharks here? And so it's one of those things that you're like, how is this gonna go? Stalwart, however, you know the crew in and out. You've been with them for a very long period of time, and you're familiar with ships and the scenario and every detail you could possibly imagine involved. You can see that when she gives the order to stop the ship, there is a mixed emotion between like excitement and fear, but at the same time, relief. You honestly think that relief is the greatest emotion here. So they immediately spring into action and run about and go trying to, bring the ship to its halt. Kieran, you're going to roll for me your vehicle's water check, and let's see how it goes.
I'm rolling with dexterity if that's okay, and I will be action pointing it as well.
Sure. Okay.
19.
So you are, you just like, as you said, use the winds to kind of like start throwing the wind back into the sails and whatnot. This is what happens. You are going to be able to stop the ship more or less in time as a perfect stop to exactly where most ships do. No, you almost look like you're stopping where if a shitty captain the first time through here would stop, even though this is kind of deliberate for you. You didn't quite hit that 20 mark that I was looking for. As for damage to the ship, as the wind is blasting backwards, trying to slow the ship down, as everybody busts out oars and starts trying to like pedal backwards, but avoid the rocks to either side. The scratches to the hull from trying to hit a bit of a swerve to break the momentum are very, very minimal. We're talking superficial at worst. Nothing bad there. Several ropes snap from the sails, so the sails instantly going the other way, and the amount of pressure. You can hear like the little cracks and creaks and whatnot in the ship that you usually hear like during storms and whatnot. But nothing that your crew couldn't fix within 10 minutes of active sailing. You know what I mean? So anyways, you're able to bring the ship to a halt just after that perfect stopping spot. Nothing that's to be too mindful. I'll actually ask you this, Kieran. Because you can control the wind, would you like to beep, beep, beep? Or you good?
I'm good.
Okay. So you stop the ship like a solid 25 feet or so from the perfect spot. And the tension in the area is still there, but it's not as palpable as it was before. Others are in their area around or at guard and so on and so forth, but not like, oh my God, we are about to fight these people. You see the shaman comes over, shimmies his way over, like makes his dragging motions with the various bits of seaweed and shells and whatnot dragging behind him as he goes. And as he comes to the water's edge, waves his hand out in front of the water, and you can see the water erupts into the sky and eventually makes a bridge of water between the back of your ship, which is actually over there where your helm is anyway. So hey, convenient. Over to where it is that the chieftain was standing beforehand, and the water arcs over and it makes for a comfortable way. As it comes to a stop, just so you know, down this because you weren't here before, as it comes to a stop and the whole thing makes that bridge, there's still bits of water that kind of drip off of it and a bit of a mistiness in the area that makes, if the light catches it the right way, almost like a cute little rainbow underneath there. But it's a really cool looking scene of this bridge of water. And then you can see Kieran can walk over to that water and very comfortably place a foot atop it to start walking up there.
I would just go up to Kieran and be like, are you the one who needs to give this gift?
Oh, absolutely not. And I don't intend to give him a gift at all, but Bellum wants to talk to him. And
I will sort of fumble in my bag and hold up like a little...
I don't want to give them a present.
Silk pouchy. Pouch? I know in Elvish, but like, it's going to fucking kill them.
All right.
How many of those did you have left?
I only ever got given one.
Oh, wait. That's not what I thought it was, because you used those in the forest back in the very end of season 3.
You thought it was the exploding gems. It's the necromantic thing.
Yeah, we didn't keep any of those. Yeah, it's the fallen bead.
Bellum will put his hand out for the gift of death.
Remember, tell their shaman that it's a magical object from the north. They'll think it's useless unless they detect it, and then they'll find out it's of great value.
Do you know what the Fallen Bead does, Ollie?
No, because you explicitly told me I couldn't figure it out.
Okay.
It increases necromantic power, though.
Yeah, but he
For a
also
short
said
time.
that it would kill me,
Yeah.
like just in general. So I think that's all I figured out is it's like, oh no, it would kill you soon after or whatever. So
It was the when I had created it at the time, it was before you would gain back your personhood, if I remember correctly. And so the idea was that the average person using it, for a living person to use it, it would kill them. But for an undead person, they would be able to use it safely. And because you were in that fun little halfway between space, it was halfway between those two. So that's funny because more or less you're giving an ultimate poison. So.
Yeah.
Because it's, if I remember correctly, the bead isn't even a hard bead. It's almost some of
It's
like
like one of
the
the
water droplets, like we talked about beforehand. Yeah, it's like some sort of liquid that's like so dense, like mercury, that it's beaded even in your hand. It will roll around in your hand. So, anyways, Kieran takes the bead.
Bellum takes.
I
the
do not take the bead.
Oh, sorry,
Bellum
Bellum.
takes the bead.
Bellum takes the bead and walks with Kieran. I guess he would cross the bridge. He would assume Kieran's coming. No, you're not coming.
I mean, I will, but it's not going to go your way if I do.
Yeah, I would be one of those things where maybe Kieran starts walking, Stalva holds her back.
I mean, can you come and not speak? Is that possible?
No, she can't.
Absolutely not.
I mean, can you come and stand 20 feet back and I can just cast silence on you so you can say whatever the fuck you want, but no one will hear you?
Move 20 feet backwards and cast lightning bolt.
Just go.
Yeah, go.
No, you just cast silence on her necklace,
Yeah, on her person. Yeah,
and it travels with her as
Yeah.
she moves.
yeah.
That's what you do.
She's
Like,
got to have some spells that don't require verbal, and she will look through that spell list to find them.
I think she has like 2.
I have a lot.
Oh, do you? Damn it.
Thunder spells, man. There's a lot of stomping involved.
Then I guess I will travel alone with the bead, and I won't say anything to Kieran. I'll just go.
okay, awesome. Bellum has no clue what this is, does he?
No,
But I
he's just
literally
like,
explained
it's a
it
thing
to
of
him.
death. He tells me it's a thing of death. If I give it to them, tell them to examine it, they might die.
I
You
also
actually-
tell him a thing of value from the north.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah. No,
you
yeah.
tell him what it is, Ollie?
No, I just told him it's a thing
No,
of value from
thing
the
of
north.
value from the north.
Okay, not a thing of death. Okay.
Well,
Bell- Bellum
But
has
he
no
can
clue.
remember that because he was there. So
Was he there when it was given to you? Because I thought there
no,
was a
but
gift that
I
was
would
given
have
to you.
examined
Oh,
it.
okay, okay. So you would have explained it to him prior, so Bellum has knowledge from prior. I wasn't sure if Bellum had that knowledge because Starbar, I imagine, doesn't share everything with everybody at all points in time. He kind of like, you'll know when you need to.
just the stuff he's excited about, and this is something he was excited about.
Okay.
Yeah. If you eat this Bellum, it'll kill you. Can you believe that?
So you make your way to the you make your way across the watery bridge, and meet with the chieftain on the other side. Kieran, you are staying back, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So you meet with him on the other side.
But I know this will be like insulting to them, so I prepare like to cast lightning bolt if things start going poorly.
So the bridge itself, because of where it was that you had parked and everything, is about 100 feet in length, though they are meeting near the middle of it. You know what I mean? And when I say near the middle, I mean Bellum has to walk like 2/3. He walks like 1/3, maybe even more of a walk for Bellum, closer to like 3/4, 1/4. It's just a power play. It's a sign of you come to me. You know what I mean? So anyways, he's standing there atop the water bridge with you and walks up to you and crosses his arms. When I say he crosses his arms, it's literally his higher set of arms cross and his lower set of arms cross.
So I just I look at him and I say, "Do you speak common?"
He does not. He shakes his head no.
I touch my forehead, activating my gem, so I can now understand him. And I say, "Well, you seem to have at least known that." In common, I guess I say, "You at least know some words in common. What do you speak?"
Shakes his head no.
Nice. I then say, let me see what other languages I speak, because I know I have a couple. I speak and I say in Orc. This any better?
He looks to past his shoulder and calls something out. Kieran, you actually understand Primordial, yes?
I do.
I understand it too.
Quite well.
He says, "Throw me my arms." And when he calls that back, you see that one Sahagin from the side hurls a spear over to him, which he catches with one hand, and another like sideways throws, almost like you throw a boomerang, a sword over to him, and he kind of like watches, judging it for a second, and then snatches it out of the air, the sword, and he turns back towards you. He's as he has a spear, the base of the spear, not the tip of course, hit the ground, and where it like does this quick little splash, you can see it does like a ripple effect throughout the entire bridge. That's in his upper right arm, and his lower left arm he has the sword. The sword's not gestured towards you or anything, it is pointed down, much like you would imagine a safe way to hold the sword outside of a training. Inside of a training exercise, right?
Yep.
And he shakes his head no again.
Well, I don't know what you want. If we can't communicate, are you just going to let us pass? He's going to shake his head no, I'm assuming.
Because you say that in another language, right?
I only have Common and Orc. So I think I can speak, so.
Okay. So he is going to...
I will step onto the bridge and move forward.
Like, I start, like, turning back, like, he doesn't understand me. Like, you know, I'm, like, kind of, like...
I roll my eyes.
All right. And you step on the bridge, start moving forward. He started to raise up his sword. You don't think he was aiming for you. He didn't have that look like he was going to reach out and swing at you.
He's being intimidating.
But he was raising up a sword. But then his eyes go off of you and look past you, which I imagine draw your eyes over there too, because he starts lowering his sword. And you see Kieran is plotting her way up the water as well. It's one of those things where Kieran probably enjoys this little walk. It's like, I walk on water. I'm like... the child of a god, but somehow not a demigod. This makes perfect sense. I walk on water.
I've probably been trying to for a while, like using like shape water to like kind of mimic it. Working on it.
Yeah. Best you can do is freeze the water and slip and fall into the rest of the water. So then she makes her way up to Bellum, and I imagine past Bellum.
Yeah.
So I take like a step and a half or whatever in front of Bellum. And he stands there with, once again, his arms back, that one down, and this one holding up.
He doesn't understand me, Karen.
Arm.
I'm aware he doesn't understand you. I say.
Why didn't you come with me?
Well, because I wanted to kill him, and I will say that in Primordial. And this is to prove a point. That will continue in Primordial.
I don't understand you.
You say, I wanted to kill him in Primordial?
Yeah, so he understands, like, and this is to prove a point to you. Like, I'll kind of point to Bellum, but obviously it's meant for the other person.
Was it said like conversational volume, or was it one of those? Or was it no? I mean, I get that, but was it said like it was one of those? Well, you know, I wanted to kill him.
No, not so like his entire people can hear, enough so he can hear.
Okay, okay, gotcha. I was curious if anybody back there would be able to hear it. All right, so there's no reactions from them back there. So he hears you give your threats. So when you give your threat, you see his the free arm, the only free arm, because two holding the spear, one holding the sword. His upper left arm does like a heavy beat on his chest, much like you can imagine like a gorilla would do. And when he beats on his chest just that once, immediately those behind him starts to like scramble about and whatnot, kind of like get up and look energized. Like they're not really jumping into action, but you can see they're much more prepared for it.
Scott, can I just say that if this water bridge falls out from below me, my immediate reaction is to go for my bag and pull up my carpet. I'm just letting you know if that happens. I'm doing that.
What's speed of? Oh God, I used to know this off the top of my head. How many feet? What is it? It's something times squared. What is the rate of falling in gravity? Either way, you're gonna hit the water. I can't remember how it goes. I used to know off the top of my head, but anyways, so it's the rate of acceleration by Earth gravity. So anyways, you William would definitely hit the water long before you can reach into the bag, pull out a carpet, put it underneath you, and not.
Except you know that Karen can cast Featherfall.
That's a different conversation, but you would
Yes.
not be able to get that out in time.
On my own, correct.
Yeah.
I just I'm letting Karen take over the conversation, but I'm gonna say
32 feet per second. Thank you so much, Bragel. Oh my god, it was killing me. I was like, I know this because I've had to use this math before to find out how many feet somebody would fall here in one round of combat and da-da-da-da. But anyways. Which if I remember correctly, just round to 600. Go ahead.
I say to Karen, well, they want something from us, but they're not willing to communicate.
They want to seem powerful, and you've undermined it. So why don't you go walk back towards the rest of the crew and I'll handle this.
He takes a solid 20 steps back, but tries to still stay there. And now he has his bag out in front of him, being prepared to he's going through his bag.
So watching all of this stuff happen, the chieftain doesn't look concerned at all. He's just watching this without any amusement whatsoever. He's actually, he might be annoyed, but he's not even really showing the annoyance. He's just like, what are these weird human things doing? However, you can actually see watching all this happen. It's like the when everybody else jumped to arms and whatnot before, the shaman had just kind of stayed still. He didn't really care. But now all of a sudden, watching the end of the conversation, you're backing up and whatnot. When you start backing up, the shaman kind of his head turns to the side. This is Stallborn. Dallas can see this. He's starting to watch a bit more closely as Bellum starts to reach to his bag. You can clearly tell the shaman. And grind you guys are probably about 110 feet or so away from the shaman, but that's close enough that you can. This is only a third of a football field, right? Real football field. You can see that. You can see his reaction enough that he's starting to be really interested. He takes a few paces forward. He actually gets to the base of the bridge itself, he's standing over by the edge of the bridge, and watching how this interaction is going to continue.
Hi, I'm Karen Lyrandar. I'm gifted by the Devourer himself. I have no interest in posturing towards your people or giving them a show of your superiority or whatever bullshit normally happens in these trades. You're gonna let us go, or I'm gonna kill all of them.
You say this in?
Primordial.
Okay.
And I'll punctuate it with a lightning bolt into the sky.
Oh, okay. So.
Yeah, just
Into the sky.
Okay.
Into the sky.
And
So-
When that happens,
Take this cute little fucking present, and I'll kind of drop it on the ground. And that's all.
when that happens, Stalber's to Downus well, that's good. Usually she aims it at them.
You know what? Are you a betting man?
No.
Oh. Well, that's no fun.
No, I'm no fun at all. I'm a wizard.
Well, fair enough.
You know what's funny is I have literally never gambled at a Keno bar, anything. I've never done any form of I've gone to tons of casinos to see shit. Never gambled even a penny. But if somebody's you want to make a bet, I'm usually what's the bet?
So
I'm into this.
Eric and I have so many little bets going on this game based on people's backstories. We have 3 going on for Stalbar right now. If we ever learn his backstory.
You guys are like Marshall and Lily from Himium, and it makes sense because Eric watches it so much.
We do make bets in our friends' relationships and how long they will last.
I believe it. I believe it wholeheartedly.
Oh, Brittany and I have 4 3/4 more years left. No. So anyways, so you throw that bolt of lightning into the sky. Roll me an intimidation with advantage.
Will do. And I dropped the little present on the fucking bridge.
Oh, I know. I'll get to that in a second.
Starts going into the water.
It might just fall.
I did say I handed it to them in a little bag,
And I will use
like a drug dealer.
It wasn't a Ziploc bag.
No, well, it is Heveron.
There we
I
go.
wouldn't be surprised
21.
if we had Ziplocs.
Okay, so your 21 would be enough, you made enough of a point that the Sahagin that were in the water around the bridge, watching up from down below, would definitely kind of like do like a swish back or dunk underneath water. Clearly would be intimidated. Those that are on the actual like rock ledge where the shaman and whatnot are, they would actually kind of like hobble backwards a little bit. They would actually be a little bit intimidated by this shimmying back. The shaman himself sees this happen. And he immediately like raises up his spear to like tap the edge of the bridge with it. You can imagine what will happen if he does so. Almost instinctively, the chieftain raises his one free hand, again top left arm up, raises it behind him, holding his palm outstretched that way. You imagine telling him to stop because he doesn't drop the spear down, but leaves it lingering over where the edge of the actual bridge is.
But Bellum will start walking away towards the ship.
The chieftain, it seems like everybody around has been intimidated, maybe even to a degree the shaman himself, because he started reacting. The chieftain, however, and you're right in his face, does not give a flying fuck. Kieran, do me a favor, roll me an insight, and then we're going to get to that little pebble.
Uh-huh.
You imagine that the reason why this chieftain is not scared isn't necessarily because, he's the biggest and most badass person ever. But he definitely thinks he is. And so, you know of these
Smartest
people.
man in the world over there.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a very stable genius. So you know that the way that the way that they've interacted with your peoples before, these Sahagin, and certainly him because he's one of the mutated ones, believe that they are better than all these other land races.
Yeah.
So he's not intimidated. Kieran, also roll me a perception check. The rest of you guys don't have to. You see it pretty much right away. When that bead, because did you leave it in the baggie or did you take it out of the baggie, by the way?
I left it in the baggie.
Okay. When that baggie hits the water, it takes a couple extra seconds because, it plunks in and then the baggie kind of gets a little wet and it gets sunk underneath where the bridge is. And then it's sitting inside there kind of whooshing around in the current. And then Kieran, with your 16 perception, you don't see it for a while because it takes a while for it to really pour its way out of the bag. But the water around where the bag is kind of whooshing around, and this isn't like a 2-foot area. It's actually whooshing back and forth, because whooshing is a word I'm going to keep saying. Back and forth like a good solid 6-7 feet. And it's moving in almost like a figure 8 pattern because of the current of the water being down there. Excuse me. Almost like a figure 8 pattern. There's a black cloud, almost like an inky cloud that's growing more and more and more and stretching along the bridge. And you see it when it starts to stretch around his feet and behind it. So anyways, you say your words. Take it back a couple seconds. You say your words to him. You throw your lightning to the sky. He looks at you like he just does not give a flying fuck, right? And then he says, puny land creature, you will die here, and I will feast on your body and wear your riches, as will my children and theirs.
That's unfortunate.
We're gonna have to. No. You have to roll initiative. But I like that lightning bolt. That's shitty. I'm cool with that lightning bolt.
I have maximize or empower or whatever it's called.
Does he say it loud enough for all of us to hear, or just Kieran?
He's not one that has a booming voice. He's a calm, quiet, confidence kind of person. So he says it loud enough for Kieran to hear it, not loud enough for you guys. Bellum can roll a perception.
Not loud enough for his people to hear it then?
Okay.
They, as you can tell, react to his body language.
I have advantage on this perception because it's overhearing conversations.
Oh,
that's true.
How often does that come up?
Not often, but hey.
Actually,
More often than Karen's nut tying ability.
It's such a weird ability. I don't even know why I allowed it.
It's a sailor thing. Because you wouldn't allow anything else.
I love many things, like
You
overhearing
didn't allow
conversations.
anything else I suggested.
Well, you should just garbage.
Like related to sailing and swimming.
Do you hear every word? No. Do you catch the meaning? Abso-fucking-lutely you do. So you catch that. Obviously, everybody's going to be able to roll into initiative, but you know what, Bellum, because you heard that, you can roll with advantage.
I already have advantage.
I know. I'm cute. Ollie
You're
doesn't
not.
appreciate the joke, but I do.
Hey.
Wow! That is a red 22.
No, it's
hold
not.
on.
It's just because of the 2 different dice. That's why.
I know, but that's a shiny right there.
No, but usually it's that's weird. It's a red
No,
22.
we literally figured this out on Wednesday that's how it does it.
Yeah.
With a
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, that literally happened this Wednesday. Do you need like to see a doctor? You don't remember anything that happened on Wednesday.
I do. I remember the most important thing that happened on Wednesday, but I can't announce it right now because of spoiler.
I think the most important thing that should happen is that we go on a break.
Yeah. Hold on. Could everybody else please roll initiative for me?
I kind of want to go on a break first.
I didn't click my character, but
Haha.
I don't think I have a token.
Yeah, I thought I gave you one, didn't I?
I
No.
don't think so.
There's no new token.
Yeah.
Unless
just has,
that's
like, a
supposed to
little
be it. That might be
jamboree.
something.
Yeah, this is it right here. I'm pinging it.
The silver one? Yeah, that could be it.
The
Cool.
skeleton?
Can you get rid of the war?
Because that skeleton was for my skeletons.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
no,
know,
okay.
that's
Literally
why
a
that
skeleton.
exists. That was
I
for
can-
my skeletons. It doesn't belong to him.
But Scott will play it off like it's something he did appropriate. It's okay.
No,
Oh, it's
no,
new,
that's
so
not-
it
no,
must be the thing.
That's not
I
it.
can't select it, so.
No, that's not. Damn it. Wait, who's this one? I don't know who that is. Okay, let's
I'm
go.
in pain right now. Can we go to a break?
Let's go to break.
Where you flump
Flump.
around?